Alright, hello, welcome to this weather update. It's around 8:30 p.m. on October 14, 2018. And I want to talk a little more about Hurricane Michael and also about Hurricane Leslie, which has not really been reported much because everybody's been, and including me, I've been focused on Hurricane Michael. But this this storm has caused so much damage to some really. It's a shame because a lot of these areas, like Panama City, were very beautiful areas, and now look at them. They're completely destroyed, and it's just been horrible. It's been horrible. Um, and here's another picture of the video of the damage here. Uh, it's terrible, and there's there's gas shortages. People are fighting over gas. Uh, People can't get food. People can't get water. Uh, and it's really bad. It's really bad, and it's not just Panama. It's not just Panama City. It's not just Mexico Beach that got hit hard. Uh, all right, they say they're not getting any help. No food, no FEMA. Yeah, once again, no help from the government. These people are being forgotten. They're being forgotten by the national media too, and it's just been terrible. Showing you the damage that I want to show you some of the other areas because there are other areas that got hit beside Panama City, and I want to actually talk about uh, some of those other areas. So one of the other areas was Mariana, which is like 50 miles inland. I think it's Mariana. I don't know if I'm going to spell it right. Probably not, but it's 50 miles inland, and they also got hit very hard. Yeah, here we go. This is Mariana, 60 miles inland. Look at this. This is 60 miles inland. Look at this picture of this building here. Let me see if I can make this larger. You know anything about Twitter? They make it hard to make the pictures larger, so I have to actually zoom in with my browser. But look at this. This is Mariana, 60 miles inland. So it still caused damage way inland. Look at this. Look at all this damage. Look at all the trees down. Destruction after Hurricane Michael. Even in Mariana. Look at this. Mariana is nearly destroyed too. Look at this. So even 50 to 60 miles inland, which is very unusual to see. All this destruction, and it's such a shame. These are beautiful areas, which I'm going to show you what it was like before the hurricane, and you'll see what it's just been. The destruction has just been absolutely just devastating, and I just cannot believe the national media has, and I'm talking about CNN, Fox News, all the national media stations have just forgotten about this, and the federal government's forgotten about these people. It's just it's just a shame, and they need our help right now. If you can help them, uh, they need our help. They unfortunately this area is unlivable, and even in Tallahassee, Tallahassee got hit very hard too. Um, so even Tallahassee, if we can actually put her Tallahassee in here. Sorry, my caps lock must be on. Um, so here's the damage in Tallahassee. Let's see if we can find some pictures from Tallahassee. I haven't seen too many pictures, but over 90% of the city lost power. Tallahassee. It's just been a terrible situation that they've been going through. So I want to show you. We're gonna go look at Google Maps, and I want to show you the areas that have been impacted here. Uh, I don't see too many pictures of Tallahassee. Even Georgia got. Let's check out Georgia. I'm gonna put Georgia in here. Let's see if even in Georgia, places like Albany got hit very hard. Uh, Even places like Albany in Georgia got hit very hard. So let's see. And Trump is going to ignore. Yeah, people. Trump is. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Not enough's being done, but yeah, I'm not going to make this. I don't want to we'll leave the politics out of this right now, because Anyway, let's go look at the map of some of what some of these places used to look like. Alright, so here is Panama City and Panama City Beach, and I'll show you exactly what happened with this hurricane. So the eye kind of went over this. I went this way, went over here, and it went. Panama City got into the worst of it. Panama City Beach, depending on where you were, the east end got hit much harder than the west end. But it's a very large area that was affected. And this storm, the good news, I did hear that WJHG, which is somewhere in this area of Panama City here, Panama City Beach, just got there. They were able to get their communication, some of their communication back, and return to the airwaves, which is very good news. Very good news. So I think they're off Front Beach Road. So I think they're. Let's see if we can find them. I think they were somewhere over here. Yep, yeah, they are. WJHG News Channel 7, right over here. And so they were able to get their station back on the air. So that's very good. So at least there's some more communication now coming up. But the phone lines are still down. They're trying to restore cell service. But I'll just show you what the area looked like beforehand. This is Panama City Beach, right, the east end of it. And that's where the TV station is, right in that building over there. And look at all these beautiful pines that have been knocked down. Many beautiful pines here. These, I believe, are, I think they're either loblolly or longleaf. I think they're longleaf pines. Very, beautiful trees, very much like pitch pines. They look a lot like pitch pines. Many of them, unfortunately, have come down. So this area looks completely different now. But it's not the hardest hit area, but I just want to show you some of these beauties that are all around here. These beautiful pine trees that many of them have come down, and the ones that haven't come down have been stripped of their needles. So I don't know if the pines are going to be able to survive that. It's not just all the buildings that got destroyed. A lot of nature got destroyed too. So this is the eastern side of Panama City Beach, but not the hardest hit area. The hardest hit area was Panama City. And there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of damage that has occurred in these areas. Panama City is not a small town. It's a fairly large town. I would say it's about, trying to think of a town to compare it to. It's about the size of Tom's River, I guess. It's a fairly large town. Actually, a little bigger than Tom's River, I think. But there are a lot of buildings, stores, malls that have all been damaged and destroyed. The Panama, this Dillard's here at the Panama City Mall actually was completely destroyed here. I think the Dillard's is, it's on this side. This was completely destroyed. So there's been a lot of damage in this area, unfortunately. And like I said, it was a beautiful area. It's a shame that all this has had to happen here. I'm going to show some more pictures of the town. Let's see if we can find the main part of town here. Not sure exactly where it is. Or this is like the main part of town right here. Alright, so they have a town over here. I guess it would be like West 6th Street here. This is like the main part of town here, alright. So, it's a big town, I would say it's actually larger than Tom's River. I would say it's about the size of, I'm trying to think of a town around in New York to compare it to. Or in New Jersey. Maybe it'd be fair to say it's about the size of Jersey. No, I wouldn't say Jersey City, but Tom's River, I guess, would be a good comparison, I guess. But it's a large town. There's a lot of people that live here that are going to be displaced, and they need to find places to live, and and they're not getting enough help right now. People are pretty much left on their own right now. The people there are helping each other, but they're not getting much help from the government, and they're not getting much. Not much is going on in the mass media about this. So I want to show you some more areas here in. I think it's over here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. This is also Panama City, and this area here is just beautiful, and it's such a shame this is all gone now. You got the Gulf right here. You got these palm trees. The palm trees can survive the hurricanes, but these pines, unfortunately, many of them are gone. And just look at these delicious, beautiful pines here. These I think are longleaf, but they come in very similar shapes to the pitch pines, and it's just incredibly beautiful. You got a nice little lake here. All this is just looks like a war zone now. All these trees have been destroyed or torn up, and it's terrible. It really is terrible. Just showing you this some of the beautiful. It's a beautiful area. It wasn't. This was a beautiful place to live. When now it's destroyed, and it's really just heartbreaking. It really is. Let's look at these beautiful pines. My God, look at these shapes. All these beautiful pines are gone. It's heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. All right, we're looking at a zoomed out image here of the area here that was hit. And again, the storm came in over here. The eye wall hit Panama City, went through Youngstown, Lynn Haven, and then wound up hitting Mariana very hard. Look at how far inland Mariana is. To show you how far inland Mariana is from the coast, we're going to measure distance right now. So I'm going to measure distance. And Mariana is 55 miles from the coast. 55 miles inland. That's like from here to, I would say, Poughkeepsie or something like that, right? It's very far inland. And the storm still wreaked havoc inland. It still wreaked havoc, which is crazy. Mariana, another nice, beautiful area that has been destroyed by this. And again, there are lots of pines here. It was a beautiful place, and it's all gone now. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we got. So again, you got these beautiful pines. This is like an old cemetery. All these pines here, a lot of them have been destroyed. A lot of these trees. They also have live oaks, which is another tree they have down south. All gone. The buildings can, of course, be rebuilt, but the trees and the devastation of the natural landscape is going to take many, many, many hundreds of years to recover. I don't know how fast these trees grow, but it's going to take a while to, restore all the trees, that once, dominated these areas. But the storm wasn't done yet, and it went into Georgia, and it went from Mariana, and then it hit Albany, Georgia. All right, right over here. All right, and Albany, Georgia was hit hard too. By they still had, I think, a Category 2 or 3 hurricane damage over there. Well, that far inland. How far inland are we over here? I'm going to measure that right now. So let's take a look at the area first. Not quite as many pines over here, but still, it's just a shame what's going on. So let's see how many miles Albany was. Let's see how miles Albany was from the landfall spot. Let's see. Measure distance. Let's see. 138 miles, almost 140 miles, and it was still a very damaging hurricane. That far inland, and people got killed in the fatalities weren't just in this area; they were all the way up into the Carolinas. So this is, like I said, been a very devastating storm for this area. It is such a shame, and even Tallahassee got hit. Even though the worst of it missed them, they still got hit hard too. 90% of the city lost power, and Tallahassee also is another place that has some really beautiful areas in it. The west side got hit harder than the east side. The east side didn't get hit quite as hard. But again, I'm going to show you what it looks like over here, and you're going to see. It's not the spot I wanted to show you, actually. You're going to see how beautiful it is. So I guess over here somewhere. Yeah, right over here, I think. Just showing you some of these areas here. So again, we've got more pines in this area. You can see it's very piney over here. I'm not sure what species these are. These may be longleaf or loblolly pines, but they come in very similar shapes to the pitch pines. And it's just a beautiful area, and it's such a shame that a lot of these pines have been destroyed. This area is actually called Piney Z. So looks like a really nice place. It's such a shame what's happening to our environment here. It's not just the damage to human structures. It's the damage to our nature, our environment that is really just heartbreaking, especially for me, because I love the pines, and it's such a shame what's happening to them. Let's see if we can get some more images here. There's a nice little park here. Let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, look at those pines. They're all over. So really beautiful. No, this area didn't get hit quite as hard. I think a lot of the pines are okay, but those other areas definitely got hit a lot harder. But again, beautiful area. Look at that, beautiful pine right there. So anyway, now let's change gears and talk about another destructive hurricane, Hurricane Leslie. All right, so let's take a look at Hurricane Leslie here. This is October the 12th. And you can see it right here, and it was racing right toward Portugal. It made a beeline. Look at this, from the 12th to the 13th. It was approaching. Here it is approaching Portugal here, and it's still a hurricane, getting very disorganized and sheared heavily, but it's racing. It moved very fast, like 30 miles an hour at least, and then it impacted Portugal. And this whole area, Lisbon in particular, which is the capital of Portugal, I believe, got hit very hard. And it's a real shame what happened there as well. And now I'm gonna read to you an article about the damage there, because they experienced 109 mile an hour winds, lots of trees down, lots of power outages, structure damage. It's the same story all over, repeating itself. So I'm going to read to you this article about Hurricane Leslie. Hurricane Leslie hit Portugal right around, and Lisbon has been devastated by this storm. Winds of 109 miles an hour were recorded. A hurricane in Portugal. Can you imagine? So Hurricane Leslie has devastated Lisbon as it batters Portugal with 109 mile an hour winds, leaving 27 people injured. Authorities urge people to stay indoors and stay away from coastal areas as the storm brought heavy rain, strong winds, and surging seas. At least 27 people have suffered minor injuries, according to the civil defense officials. The storm was the most intense overnight, bringing localized flooding and uprooting thousands of trees. Civil Defense Commander Luis Belo Costa said on Saturday night that the greatest danger has passed. More than 300,000 homes have lost power, according to the commander of the Civil Protection Agency. Power Authority EDP said more than 200 power lines have been affected by the storm. Over 60 people were forced to leave their homes. Lisbon was the worst affected, and Figueroa de Foz, Aveiro, Viseu, and Porto also suffered damage. Portugal's weather service issued red warnings and dangerous coastal conditions for 13 of its 18 Manidad districts. A resident of Figueroa de Foz described the storm like a war zone. They told SIC television, "I have never seen anything like it. The town seemed to be in a state of war, with cars smashed by fallen trees. People were very worried. The main motorway in Portugal was blocked by a fallen tree, preventing services from traveling." Hurricane Leslie was downgraded to a tropical storm, and by Sunday morning, most of the most powerful winds and heavy rains have subsided. Spain and southern France have also been affected by this powerful storm. Winds uprooted trees in the center of Spain early Sunday morning. Flood warnings have also been issued in the north and northwest of the country for today. Parts of southern France have also been put on alert for storms and flooding. The storm formed on September 23rd and spent weeks in the Atlantic Ocean before coming to the Iberian Peninsula. It was hovering over the Atlantic for so long because it didn't encounter a strong enough weather system to force it toward land, according to AccuWeather. It is rare for an Atlantic hurricane to hit the Iberian Peninsula, as only 5 have ever been recorded. The last tropical system to follow in Leslie's path was Vince in 2005. Anyway, let's change gears once again and talk about our weather, all right? Because we're going to get a little bit of a warm-up tomorrow, but then it's going to get cool again. So what we have here is a warm front that's going to be approaching tonight. And I'm just not even going to look at the temperature so much. I'm going to look at the dew point, because we will be seeing the dew points go up tomorrow. Into Monday, you'll see that the dew points come up into the 60s, and the temperatures are going to rise into this probably near 70 degrees with a strong southwesterly wind. And then that's ahead of the cold front. Then the cold front moves through, and look at those dew points drop on Tuesday. Dew points in the 30s. So we're going to have serious dew point drops, and we stay in a cool pattern. That's the main thing I wanted to point out to you. We talked about this before, that finally the pattern has changed after dealing with this just horrible summer that we've had. I want to look at the rainfall. We're going to look at the rainfall forecast, and I'm going to use the high resolution NAM because there will be some rain tomorrow. Nothing heavy, but there will be some showers around. As you see here in the morning hours, we're going to have some showers. Probably, I would say, between 9 a.m. and noon. We could have some showers. Then they move out, and then it's warm and kind of a little humid out. And then here comes this cold front coming through. There could be some line of heavy thunderstorms with this. The NAM is predicting possibly heavy thunderstorms with this line that's moving through. This will be around 11 o'clock at night, so it could be some strong thunderstorms. And then after that, it's dry, and it's going to stay dry for a while after that. So let's go ahead and look at the larger scale pattern. And we're going to go back to the GFS and show you what's going on. So we have this cold front coming through tomorrow, and then it cools off, and then we just have a nice northwest flow out of Canada. The jet stream has finally decided to show itself and bring in these nice, cool fall-like air masses out of Canada, one after another. So it looks like we definitely have that pattern change that we've been waiting for so long. But as you heard in the article that I read to you about Leslie, they talked about how there's no steering flow because of the problems of the jet stream that are resulting from climate change, the unusual jet stream, which as you'll see here, I'm going to show you the jet stream right now. You'll see that it has come back now. So let's see, 250 MB winds. So here we go. Yep, here is the jet stream. So finally, you could see we have a jet stream again across our country. You see it right here. So finally, it's good to see that we have a jet stream finally back in the country. Finally moving the weather along the way it's supposed to move the weather along. All right, so the last part of this video, I just want to talk a little about the weather down south. You know, the other thing is many people don't have power, and it's warm, and they don't have air conditioning. And air conditioning is a must in these areas in the south. The heat and the humidity is just oppressive down there and getting worse. Let's take a look at the dew point. You'll see what I mean. Yeah, the dew points are in the upper 60s to around 70. So it's pretty bad not having air conditioning. They don't, you know, because they're nearly in the tropics. They have a very warm, humid climate almost nearly year-round, which is why I don't understand why anyone would want to live there. But if you can't stand the cold, I guess I can understand. But when the power goes out and there's no air conditioning, people are really suffering with that. There's going to be a lot of problems with mold because the buildings are going to start getting damp without air conditioning, and especially the ones that have been damaged. But what I want to look at is the wind speed, and we're going to actually go ahead and look at we're going to actually take the date back to the day that Michael made landfall, and take a look at the wind speed on here. So let's take you back to that day that it made landfall. All right, it's yep, here. All right, so here we go, October the 10th. All right, and I'm going to take a look at the landfall here, and I'll just make sure I have the wind scale in here. Let's see if we can do that. I zoomed in too far. All right, there. All right. Put the wind scale in here. Where's the wind scale? All right. It's over here. All right, so you can see, hopefully you can see in the right-hand corner of your screen. So these are the sustained winds when it was inland, all right? But we need to take it back to when it hit, here we go, so 1 p.m. Here it is. And here is Panama City Beach, right over here. And you can see it's dealing with these very strong winds here. All right, this thing does not really, let's go to wind gusts. Yeah, that's better. All right, so as it was hitting, you could see winds well over 100 miles an hour. I think this really is underestimating the wind here. It was so bad that people actually reported that their ears were popping because the pressure was so low. Yeah, we can take a look at the air pressure. The air pressure was so low in here, in the storm, that it was people's ears were popping. All right, and that's how crazy it was. Just very unusual type of system that I've never seen before. I've never seen a hurricane maintain its strength for so long going inland like that's very unusual. And I've never seen a hurricane rapidly strengthen quite that quick. And this is all because of the warmer than normal ocean temperatures. Um, Now the other thing I want to do, we're going to change the date and we're going to go back to our current weather. All right, there's Leslie. All right, so here's Leslie. Here's the wind speeds around Leslie. We're going to go to wind gusts. Change it to wind gusts so you see how high some of these gusts were. 78 miles an hour, 81. No, I think there were higher gusts than that. I think this thing underestimates it, but it'll give you an idea. So look at how fast this thing was moving. So 2 p.m. Let's go to 4 p.m. You see it's getting closer to Lisbon now. 6 p.m. Very close to Lisbon. Look at that. 8 p.m. It's hitting Lisbon now. So see, look at these wind gusts here. So really, really just very unusual weather we've been having. And it's all due, once again, to various factors. But I do believe that, climate change is definitely part of it. So we're going to look at the ice, speaking of the climate here, and you can see well below normal. I've showed you this before already. And a lot of thin ice. So it's going to start to come back now as we are going into the fall. I think we've reached the minimum for this season, and we'll start to increase again. But the disturbing thing is it keeps going lower and lower each summer. We get closer and closer to that blue ocean event. And when that happens, the planet will, the Arctic will heat up at a much more rapid pace, which is going to cause, if you think that's what we're going on now, it's crazy. Once we have no ice in the Arctic at all, it's going to have a massive chaotic effect on our jet stream that is going to result in many more disasters like what we've seen. And it's just been heartbreaking, and it's also discouraging when people don't realize how important this is and why we need to be doing something about it. Because we're going to have more disasters like Florence, like Michael, like Leslie, more hurricanes, because warmer oceans mean more tropical systems, and that's why we've seen so many tropical systems this year, is because the oceans have been so warm. So we're going to look at the state of the ocean website, and I'll show you all the anomaly. We'll put this on anomaly. And you can see there's a lot of red on the map. Let me get rid of this little thing here. And you can see, look at all the red on the map. Much more red than blue. Much more red than blue. Lots of above normal water here in the Gulf off the East Coast. Not as bad as it was before, but it's still a lot of above normal water out there that's causing, especially at the Arctic. Look at these numbers over here. This is really crazy. And the thing with this is I can turn back the clock on this. This was as of September 28th, so I can go back and I can put this into September 15th when it was probably even worse. So that is what is going on across the... I'm trying to move this to the last... Oh, it does actually give us October. Let's go to October 14th. That's today. No, we don't have data for today. We have data for October 13th. All right, so actually this is October 13th, so that was actually an old one. I don't know why it was going to that one. But still lots of above normal water, not quite as bad over the East Coast, but still very close to the coast. We still have some really above normal temperatures. I don't know why Long Island is missing from here. But very above normal temperatures, and the Gulf too. You can see it cooled off a little bit because Michael zapped a lot of the energy out of the ocean, but we still have lots of warm water over here, which is why we've had all this tropical activity in the Pacific. And then look over here, over by Alaska. This is some really bad, just very disturbing. There is some below normal water here, but I think a lot of this below normal water is actually from all the ice melting. So, yeah, that's a disturbing reason right there. Anyway, I think I will wrap up this weather update. Again, we're just going to look at our current weather while we're here. Our current weather for our area here. I'll use the Farmingdale station, so 55 degrees. It's been a kind of a cloudy weekend, but very cool. Temperatures below normal for once. But we do have lots of nice weather coming up this week, which is good. So look forward to getting back, hopefully, to the Pine Barrens. And what can I tell you? We are in an uncharted territory. The kind of things we're seeing going on in the atmosphere, and I'll continue to report on them. I just wish people would open their eyes and see what's going on, and make some changes in their lifestyle. Give up that huge, big SUV, that pickup truck. At least drive something that gets better gas mileage. At the least you could do. We've got to stop treating our planet like a dumping ground. We really do, because we're not only hurting ourselves when we see these horrible disasters, but we're also hurting the planet and destroying a lot of beautiful places and nature with these storms that keep forming. But anyway, I'm just going to finish it up like this. Let's pray for Florida, Georgia, and all the areas that have been affected by this horrible natural disaster, and also now Portugal as well, that they're dealing with the same kind of thing over there, because this is just a horrible thing. And I think that the national mainstream media, talked about in the other video, should be ashamed of themselves for forgetting. And if they, I don't know exactly what's going on with the federal government, but if the federal government needs to be doing a better job responding for sure to these areas. We need to be helping each other, and these are the people in the Panhandle are very kind, very very conservative, very friendly. You ever heard of Southern hospitality? They're very friendly people there, and they're helping each other, but we need to help them too, because they need our help right now. So if you can help them, we need to find new places for these people to live, because their cities are destroyed. And I'm really worried there are going to be a lot of homeless people. I remember after Sandy we had a lot of homeless people, and the same thing could happen again at a much bigger scale, because the government isn't doing their job helping these people. But anyway, that's going to conclude this weather update. I know it's been more of an update about all the hurricanes going on, but we are again witnessing things, historic things going on in our atmosphere that I've never seen before. I've been following weather since I was a kid, and I've never seen weather patterns and hurricanes like this before. And it's really scary and sobering. But anyway, that's going to conclude this weather update. Take care, and let's pray for the folks in Northwest Florida.